Darko Rajaković, you didn't see, had a press conference today where he spoke about, first thoughts of being with the team, first thoughts on, his outlook on coaching, and there was a lot of interesting things that he brought up. But mostly the things that he was talking about was development, and this guy is firmly set on development. So what I wanted to do in the stream today, we're going to look at some of the best pieces and best clips that we saw from his media hits today, and possibly look as well as what the future of Scottie Barnes could look like with a coach maybe more focused on development and getting him better rather than winning with the team. So I specifically pulled this one from the press conference today. This one really resonated with me when I watched it for the first time. So
since the day I started coaching, for me, the biggest thing that I enjoyed is seeing players get better, players improve. You're going to win games, you're going to lose games. Definitely, we want to win every single game, every single night. But seeing the team grow, seeing the players grow, seeing people in whole organization grow is something that always was my biggest award, and that's how I operate. I'm trying to wake up every single day with that on my mind. How can I help? How can I serve? How can I improve everybody in the organization?
So I mentioned in the tweet, I hope we look back on this hire and see it as a real turning point for Scottie Barnes. Because we saw Scottie Barnes really flatline this season. And I'm not going to fault Nick Nurse completely, because at the end of the day, his job this season was to go out there and win basketball games. His job was to do as best as he could to try and win games this season and try and get this team into the playoffs. He wasn't there to develop guys. He was there to win games, and that's how he was going to be judged. That is how he's going to be criticized. But the utilization, certainly, of Scottie Barnes this season was not where we kind of wanted to be. He was playing as the center a lot before we got Jakob Poeltl. And the way he was guarded, to his own fault to a degree, he's getting guarded like Draymond Green. He was getting guarded like Ben Simmons. He wasn't getting guarded at all on the perimeter. So I'm very interested to see in what ways Darko is going to look to try and get Scottie Barnes to the next level, because it's a very intriguing prospect to work with. This is a guy who won a Rookie of the Year last season, and there's a big potential for him to get to the next level and really take off and be one of the better players in the NBA. Like we saw the glimpses of it. We saw the glimpses of what Scottie Barnes can become. But ultimately, the overarching story, the overarching thing that was stressed by Darko in the press conference today is just Darko is here to obviously win games, but he wants to see players grow. He wants to see players get to the next level. And one of the things that he did mention in the press conference today, when somebody asked about how he got into coaching originally, why he started coaching, he said when he stopped playing basketball when he was about 15, he was at like a young camp with his club team where he was coaching younger kids. And he said watching even those kids progress and get better really fuels his passion for coaching. So this is a guy who has made his entire coaching career off of developing and getting guys better. And in turn, getting guys better, getting them better while being like entrenched within your philosophies, your tactics, your system. All of these things together, that's going to turn into wins. That's going to turn into players buying into what you have to say, being with you, playing for you, getting better, and hopefully, over time, win games. It seems like Darko Rajaković is a person who is going to work. It's going to be a process to work with him. It's going to be a process. It's not going to be an overnight sort of thing, but I think we certainly can see some big strides potentially being taken for Scottie Barnes. Let's look at some of the other big questions that he got from today. Let's look at the other big questions that he got from today. I actually am going to go in blind on these ones. I have not seen these clips as of yet, but the questions that were on the tweet here make it really interesting to kind of see potentially what we're asked here. So let's go to the Raptors show with Will Liu, Alex Wong, and see what sort of information they were able to get of him. I wish they grilled him a bit more, but let's see exactly what we did get out of this situation. So you got to accept that who you are is great. What brought you here is amazing, but you need to adjust on skills to be able to evolve. All right, let's see.
I want to ask you maybe a more general question about player development, but in your experience, why do some players develop and ultimately reach that next level and some players don't? What is the difference there?
Great question.
That's a great question. And I've been studying that question for many, many years, and I really, really believe it comes down to vision for a player and also player
it's as loud as I can make it.
Sharing the same vision with you and being humble. Just think about like all the players that make an NBA. They were best players in elementary school, best player on your high school team, best player on your college team, and your whole life, like you're the one, you're the best. And then you come to NBA.
I say this all the time. Oh my God. I love that he said this. I say this, if you watch any of my channels, you watch my streams, I say this all the time. There are everybody in the NBA was the best player on every team they played on for their entire life. And they come to the NBA and they never touch the ball. They barely get any minutes. And when they do, like I said, they barely touch the ball. They're in the corner. So people need to recognize the roles, and they need to be, as Darko says in this clip, humble enough to realize who they are and play a different role to help the team. The players who succeed in the NBA are the players who commit to that specific role to help their team. If you need the ball in your hands to be a good basketball player, you need to be really, really good at basketball, because there's probably a better guy out there who's going to have the ball in their hands more. So what can you do without the ball in your hands to be effective? I love the way Darko said that there.
And you walk into the gym and right away you're not the best anymore. Yeah. You got to prove yourself from scratch. You got to understand like what brought you over here is awesome, and you got to embrace that and keep that. But it's not going to be enough to keep you in the league and to keep you improving. So you got to accept that who you are is great, and what brought you over here is amazing.
All right, that's a great answer, though. I've always wanted to investigate the psychology behind a bust. Like, how does it happen? How can a player go first overall and not be able to succeed at the NBA level? Right? Like it's just so crazy to me that these things sort of happen. But let's go into another clip here, where Rajaković, a little bit less fluff answers at his press conference. Let's see. This is talk about the possible development path for Scottie Barnes. I'm really interested
I think for a lot of fans, our focus has a lot been on a guy like Scottie Barnes, who, won Rookie of the Year. I think blew everybody's expectations out of the water as a rookie, and we had such great high hopes for him coming into year two. And, for a variety of reasons, it didn't really feel like he made that jump. It kind of felt much like the same thing as season one. From the outside, what do you see in terms of what is Scottie for you, in terms of what kind of level can he reach as a player, and also what kind of developmental points can you hit on to help him get to that point?
Scottie is unbelievable talent.
Sorry to interrupt, but there was one of Scottie's best games this season was that away game right before or right after the trade deadline against the Grizzlies. I think it was right before the trade deadline when he took over that game against the Grizzlies and hauled the Raptors back to a big comeback win. So Darko's seen firsthand what the boy can do.
All predispositions, physically and talent and mentally, for him to be an amazing player in this league and to dominate in this league for many years. But at the same time, we got to understand that he's 21 years old and that progress is not always linear. It's not going to be...
Success is not linear. This guy's quoting Masai Ujiri in his first day as Raptors head coach. Oh my God. Do you think he did that on purpose? Do you think he was quoting Masai Ujiri in the interviews to try and you did that, but you say as well? Oh, wow. Like, we're on the same page. I remember Masai the trade deadline said success is not linear. Wow. Darko dropping Masai Ujiri gems in the Raptors show.
Points, 20 points, 25 points, 35 points. It does not work like that.
Right.
So and I'm sure that Scottie is aware of that and that he's putting a lot of work in. And I talked to him.
My boy started using buzzwords to get the job. Exactly.
The other day, he is very motivated to continue his growth, and they'll do everything as a coaching staff, as an organization, to support him.
I like it's the motivation. So I saw a tweet. I want to give the guy credit. I forget who tweeted it though, but like Fred VanVleet should be a lot more of a likable player, and it's a damn shame that he's not, because like Fred VanVleet is undersized extremely for an NBA player. He went undrafted. He went to a small-ish school, at Wichita State. Leaves Wichita State. Like, for Fred VanVleet to get to the position where he's an NBA champion, where he's actually stealing a Finals MVP vote off of Kawhi Leonard, where he's an all-star. Like, Fred VanVleet has fought tooth and nail to be in this position. So the motivation that Fred VanVleet had to have to motivate himself to get into this position is ridiculous. So Darko a little bit there is on to spoke about the motivation. Like Scottie Barnes, I wouldn't say he's unmotivated, but he's definitely a player that has been just easily like top dog his entire life. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets that fuel to really take his whole game to the next level, to get that conditioning just a little bit higher, to get that three-point shot just a little bit better, to get that defensive awareness just a little bit better. So the motivation will have to be there as well. And I think it's also on the coaches and the staff and everybody to help with that. But like there is huge potential in Scottie Barnes to be special. But one more clip here, and then we'll get into a little bit of the comments.
I think one thing, even talking to Masai today, but also hearing him in press conferences in the last couple of months, he talked about
lounging back here with his Tim Hortons coffee. We're running a show. They're running a show here, buddy. Look at him just lounging with his gut out like that.
There's been this past season with the Raptors a bit of selfishness, and I'm curious in terms of, how do you address selfishness on a roster, for example? Do you feel like players are sort of inherently selfish, or can you sort of like correct that with certain players and really try to change their approach more to fit the rest of the team? And also, if they don't, how do you hold players accountable?
Sure.
Accountability, before he answers, was one of the things I really wanted in a coach, which is why I was really a big fan of Jerry Stackhouse. So I wonder what he'll have here.
I was not with the team, and I'm reluctant to call anybody on our roster selfish. Players can occasionally make misjudge decisions. Sometimes we got to understand that we're dealing with the best of the best in the world.
Right.
And sometimes those guys, they think they have superpowers. And you want players to be confident and to know that they have a support. But at the same time, there are simple principles that you need to follow. Like the very simple principle is if two players are on you, that means that somebody is open. Just ask yourself, if you're wide open at the three-point line or in a dunker spot or rolling, would you like your teammate to pass the ball to you? Answer is yes, 100% of the time. So you need to make the same decision for your teammate. Is he going to make the shot or not is less important, because that's how build the trust.
Right.
And then when you find a wide open teammate and he misses a shot, good job. Keep.
So his approach is more on trusting teammates and like trusting the guy beside you, and just instilling that belief. Like, okay, interesting. I kind of like that. I kind of wanted more of a hard ass, but I can live with that answer as well. I can live with that being his train of thought. He's perceived to be a very likable character. I certainly got those vibes from the first press conference as well, which we saw one of the clips from. But I didn't want to look at too many press conference questions because those were all like fluff questions, fluff answers. Like they didn't really dig in like they did on Nick Nurse in his first press conference with the Philadelphia 76ers. So really like that, the way Will Lou was framing those questions and really getting some good information. Like every piece that I saw there was good information into how Darko coaches and how he plans on running with this group of players and this team. But as far as Darko, I'm excited. I think he's going to bring in great culture, great developmental tendencies, going to bring in a great half-court offense. I think those are the three biggest things that this team needs, and he seems like a likable guy. I think Toronto fans are really going to like him, and I'm already starting to really like him. I liked him already. I'm starting to really like him even more, hearing him speak for the first time about this team.